Hello, my name is Jocelyn, and for my critical thinking project, I have decided to do an advertisement poster. I drew this out, and the first thing that you will see is a book cover and some bright yellow words. The words in yellow do say, "Don't judge a book by its cover," and I think a lot of people are guilty of that because I know I personally do the same thing. When I go to grab a book, I automatically look at the cover, and if it looks plain and boring, then I don't think it's a good read. But it always ends up being a great book. So yeah, I try not to do that. Another thing that you'll see on this poster is I also drew out the book cover of An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. This, as you can see, contains the front cover, and I try to symbolize this back piece as like the last page of the book. You can see how these two images don't really go together, because when you see a nice bridge with some trees and a blue sky, you don't really think as to a bad book. But when you go and you start skimming the book and you come across an image of a news, you assume that there's just more than just a peaceful, quiet walk on the bridge. And then at the bottom, I also added a little quote. It says, "Brought to you by the modern period. Grab a book and read for adventure." I underlined the modern period just to symbolize them as like an advertising team. As we all know, modern means many changes. We do go through that in our everyday lives, and I feel like it's important how we read about it throughout this course. The story An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, really caught my eye throughout this whole course. I feel that it's a great read, and it was very intriguing, as I found it very surprising at the end when I come to find out that Peyton Farquhar was actually executed and he did not escape his own death. Some of the things I would like to highlight in my advertising poster is like the words. I drew them in big yellow bold letters because I feel like it'll grasp onto the attention of others. And when you do read "Don't judge a book by its cover," you do see that many people do that. But I want it to be more aware that we shouldn't do that, because when you start to read, there's a lot of things that you start to realize that big change throughout the book, like the point of view, or where the setting, or just symbols that you point out throughout the book. Another thing that I want to point it out is on the cover, the front cover. In the story, I do think one of the biggest symbols that we see in this story is the bridge. It does, as we do know, that this book was written during the Civil War, or the time setting was the Civil War, and it was between the North and the South. And I think that the bridge, how it has one end to the other, it does symbolize each team, but it could also symbolize the life and death of someone. So we know that Peyton Farquhar was arrested because he did try to burn the bridge, and he thought he was going to escape his own death, but didn't do so. As we know, at the end, he thought he was going to go home to his wife, and we come to find out that he's just hanging there. I also included the news because that is how Farquhar died in the book, and I feel like that's important to show, as it gives you a little bit of insight on the book once you see this poster on there. The point of view of the story was that in some cases Farquhar tried telling us his point of view as he was taking his readers on a journey with him, and showing us how he was going to escape, how he was escaping, and what he was seeing at the end of his grand escape, and it was just nothing good. I think the theme a lot in this course was perception of reality. I mean, we can see that he really wasn't looking at the reality, but more of an illusion. He was thinking that he was gonna make it through, and he didn't want to accept the reality of him actually being killed in this horrific way. This poster, I would definitely put it in like high schools, because I think high school students have a better, or should have a better things to read, especially since they are the future. They will know what it is when reality hits, like how, you know, our parents always tells us reality will hit you once you graduate high school. So I feel like if we do put this advertisement in high schools, then it will show them, you know. It could also be put into libraries under the teen sections. And yeah, I think that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much, and bye.